Welcome to the Minerals Screencast by Miss Chen. Now, what are exactly minerals? If you take a look at this lecture and you compare it with the vitamins, you'll notice that they have quite a number of similarities. Number one, again, it protects the body from diseases. Number two, it keeps the body from functioning well. And number three, it is needed only in small amounts. Likewise, like minerals, they can also be found in supplements. Okay, if you have not watched the vitamins yet, I will show you what supplements are. So some important minerals we're going to learn today are sodium, iron, and calcium. Now, supplements are pills or liquid that can provide additional specific nutrients. So, for example, you think you're lacking omega-3, or you're thinking you're lacking calcium, or you're lacking vitamin B. Uh, you will go and find all this type that will say is a specific nutrient. Okay, so these are usually found in pharmacies or like Guardian, Watson also have pharmacy, GNC, NTUC pharmacies. Those are where they sell this type of supplements. Okay, however, there's quite a bit of a danger because some people may read up and say, oh, I heard that omega-3 is good for me, or this particular calcium is good for me. So what happens, they end up eating a lot of this calcium and overdosing on it. So that's quite a danger. Another danger of supplements is that depending on how much you are paying, so sometimes it's really what they say, like how much you pay is worth the price. If you're paying, like, let's say, really cheap as compared to some other nutrients, but let's say you're getting calcium and you see two different brands and one is really cheap and the other one seems to be more expensive, it might be better for you to go for the more expensive one because they may have better quality control and the amount of calcium in there might be different. So first off, we're going to talk about sodium. Sodium is very important in Singapore because Singaporeans tend to eat way too much sodium. We only need about 2,000 milligram of sodium a day, but we end up eating about 3,000 plus as average. So what does sodium do? Sodium actually helps the muscle and nerves to function properly. It maintains our fluid balance. Okay, so sometimes when they said when you sleep late and then you notice your eyes bags are swelling and everything, and one advice that they'll give you, don't eat too much salt or sodium, okay, because they will tend to attract a lot of this water and make your face even more puffy than usual. Sodium is usually part of sodium chloride or your table salt, okay, as you can see here. The problem is it can be found in large amount of processed food, and everywhere you go you see processed food, like ready to eat food, your canned food. Check the product label. There's always a lot of sodium, and too much of it can lead to hypertension or high blood pressure. So let's take a look what exactly is hypertension. Hypertension is one of the top killers in Singapore. So it's very important because it leads to heart attack. You need to know about this. Let's take a look.
Although symptomless in itself, hypertension should be treated because it can damage the body's organs. The high pressure inside arteries stresses and damages their linings and encourages the buildup of plaque. Plaque makes it more likely that blood clots will form and block arteries. This can affect the brain, the heart, the peripheral arteries, the kidneys, and the eyes.
Right. So you have seen the formation of plaque. So what happens is that sometimes the plaque can form until it be really too big and it stops the blood completely. So that's where you can get a heart attack or a stroke. Now we're going to take a look at iron. Iron is next. Okay, so this iron, all right, is really in the periodic table. But this iron, of course, we're not talking about asking you to eat screwdrivers or all this. Although it's almost the same iron. This iron is more of an edible sort of iron. Okay, so this is the inedible. Inedible means it can't be eaten. Edible, that means we can get it from food. If I can find a video that talks about how they extract iron from the cereals, I'm going to show it to you. Okay, now what does iron do? It forms red blood cells to transport oxygen because mainly we breathe. You learn in your science we need oxygen to breathe. And the more red blood cells that we have, the better for us it is. Iron can be found in liver, kidney, and dark green vegetables. Now, a lack of red blood cells can be anemia. Sorry, this is really a typo. It's really anemia. Anemia is what happens is that we feel very weak because we do not have enough red blood cells. And this is usually needed by girls more because due to menstruation, you have your menstruation once a month, so you are losing a lot of blood. So what you need to do, you need to eat a lot more iron. Okay, usually they take from liver soup and everything because you need to top up and put it back into your blood system in order to feel well again. So let's take a look how does iron helps, okay, in building red blood cells.
Our red blood cells make up 40% of our blood's volume. They're made continuously in the bone marrow, looking like flattened donuts without the holes. Red blood cells contain hemoglobin, a bright red protein which gives blood its color. When we breathe, as our blood passes through our lungs, oxygen molecules attach to the hemoglobin. Then the red blood cells and
Okay, at this point I need to stop because some of you may ask, what is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is actually formed by iron. Iron forms hemoglobin so that the red blood cells that can attract all the oxygen. Okay, let's continue.
hemoglobin transport the oxygen throughout the body and release it to all our cells and tissues. When the hemoglobin molecules are emptied, they attract carbon dioxide and other waste gases, which they take back to the lungs to be exhaled. Anemia occurs when there are too few red blood cells or not enough hemoglobin. Exhaustion is the common sign of anemia.
Alright, so let's move on. Calcium. Now, the calcium is also another type of metal, but this is of course not the edible metal. Nobody is going to ask you, can you eat this calcium for me? No. Okay, calcium is usually found in food as well. That's the edible. This is inedible, alright? So it's also in the periodic table. If you learn the science, you have a periodic table. Take a look. There's the word Ca over there, calcium. Now, what does it do? It forms strong bones and teeth. Okay, where can you find them? Milk, definitely. Fish eaten with bones. So if you eat sardine and you notice there's bones inside them, some of you, ew, bones, take it out. No, eat them. You can. They are soft enough to be eaten. And it can't be least. So a lack of calcium will result in osteoporosis. Now this is quite dangerous because it usually affects the older women. And girls especially, we need to take a lot of this calcium, because if we do not have enough calcium, what occurs is that we will suffer from osteoporosis. And studies have shown that now, because due to our diet, a lot of us are not taking either calcium supplements or we're not even taking milk. In fact, a lot of people are not taking Coke, Pepsi, which is not good for the body because phosphoric acid helps to make the bones weaker. And once it's weaker, we suffer from osteoporosis much earlier. So let's take a look. Now, as you can see from here, the bones start to weaken. And what happens is that the body starts to sag. That's what we see with older women. And when you see, look here, what happens here is that the bone will start to become brittle. And once it starts to become brittle or hollow, it will actually crack. You can take looks in your textbook to see how it happens or how what are the differences, okay? Now, if you're going to look under my food groups, it's still the same as vitamins, fruits and vegetables. Okay, for example, spinach and broccoli are very rich in iron. So same thing, everybody will encourage you to eat more fruits, more vegetables. We need at least 2 servings of fruits and vegetables each a day. Now, same thing, Singapore Dietary Guideline. Again, add vegetables to your meat dishes. Snack on fruit and vegetables. Drink more fruit juice instead of soft drinks. Okay, main thing, eat more fruits and vegetables. Anytime people ask you, what's the best guideline you can give? Eat more fruits and vegetables. Eat more fruits and vegetables. Now, another thing I need you to look out for is eat less salt. Why? Because salt, sodium, outside foods such as hawker center, McDonald's, all these are very high in salt. Very, very high in salt. They make us go way over the limit for 2,000 milligrams of salt a day, or sodium a day. And processed food, how many use processed food? I mean, you're gonna get French fries, or do you make them from scratch, or do you just buy them all from NTUC, from everywhere? Okay, so one way, I need you to look at their food label or their ingredient label to have a closer look of what product label is about. I might get a video somewhere to show you. Now, use spices and herbs, okay, to flavor food. Snack on fresh fruits, and you choose food products that label low salt, salt reduced or unsalted. Okay, at least you know that with this, they may not have as much sodium as other type of food products. So we'll come to the end. Here are 3 questions for review. Alright, you can pause or you can stop the video here. Answer this, and I'll see you next time. As usual, all these answers can be found in the slides or in your textbook.